Hi, Stuart here from Styck. Just a quick video to run you through part of our latest update, specifically surrounding our accounts-based changes. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions or want any further assistance, just let us know. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at here from our dashboard is the accounts sync page. And we can either get there from through the contracts or the purchasing menus. So I'm just going to click on account sync. And these features are identical between whether you use MyOb or Xero as well. So everything I'm going to show you in this video operates the same way. Doesn't matter what accounting software you're using. So to our right hand side, this is where we've got our account syncing options where we can connect to our accounting software and set up the mapping of the codes. We've got a new button there called Zero Sync Settings. So if I click on that, it's going to open up these setting options here. So at the top there, we've got our record types to sync. Now we've got some options there about what information we want to be sending to our accounts. So first of all, we've got their sync progress claims to Xero. So that's for subcontractor and client claims. So we can choose whether they are going to sync to Xero or MyOb. We've got purchase orders. Now I've got that unticked because there's also an option there of sync supply invoices, which is a new feature that we now have in Styck. So you can choose whether the purchase orders are syncing to Xero or not. As well as the supply invoices syncing. Now below that, we've also got some sync options, which is new as well. Below that, we've got export claim number not reference. So for our client and subcontract progress claims, there is a reference field box next to the claim number box where you could put something like a subcontractor tax invoice number or something like that in. You can choose whether you want that to show up as the reference number in Xero or the actual claim number itself. So that's just an option there. The export header lines. So when you export progress claims to Styck, whether they are subcontractor or client, they'll have these header lines with the contract works, the variation works, and the retentions. You can choose to remove those header options or keep them in there. Next, we've got export retention. So again, you can just choose whether you want the retention values to sync to Xero or MyOb or whether you want them to not sync. And then we've got export without attachments. So by default, Styck will not send the associated PDFs, but if you turn that off, then it will. And this is very important for our new feature with their supply invoices. So if you attach a copy of a supplier invoice within Styck, and when it syncs to Xero, that will bring that PDF into Xero as well. Likewise for the claims, when you're doing claims, that actual claim PDF will sync to Xero as well, or MyOb. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to move on to the purchase and head to the purchase orders and show you our new invoice feature. So I'm just here in our purchase order list. I'm just going to select a purchase order down the bottom here. And you can see at the top, I've now got a new tab that says add invoices. So I've got all my purchase order details here. If I click on add invoices, it takes me to a separate tab where it has all my supplier details. And now I've got my ability to put in the details from a supplier invoice. So what I can do there is I can insert the invoice date. I've got an invoice number, so I can put the invoice number in there. I can attach a document there, so I can drag in or click to upload a PDF of a supplier tax invoice. I've got a status here, so like everything else in Styck, if it's not approved, it won't sync with Xero or MyOb, but once approved, it will. And then below that, we've got our purchase order items. So what I can do is I can just select these items one by one and choose what is going to be included on this invoice. I can also add more details too. So if there's something on the tax invoice that wasn't on the purchase order, now these purchase orders and invoices sync back and forth as well. So anything that I update in this details will also show on the purchase order as well. So for example, if I put a delivery details in there, that would also show on that original purchase order as well. And then I can select what options I've got there. It's just going to show me that invoice value increasing. And then I can click add to invoice like that. And then when I go back to that bare materials purchase order there, you can see that that's now grayed out those items. So it's showing us that those items have been received through an invoice. And also when I go back to add invoices here, when I scroll down, I've got that invoice option there. If I had that PDF as well, I can view that PDF from there. So, and that is just one way we can actually enter supplier invoices now. So this is just being able to add invoices, and you can add multiple invoices to the same purchase order as well. So that's adding invoices to a purchase order. So now I'm just going to show you our newest feature, which is under purchasing, which is called invoices. So very similar to our purchase order screen where we've got our open invoices and all invoices screens, the open ones and the all obviously show the approved and not approved ones. And here what you can do is I can go new invoice, and this is for times where I've got a tax invoice, but I don't have a purchase order. So, or the purchase order isn't applicable, it's a direct cost or something like that. But as you can see at the top, it actually has the order details here, because within Styck, what it will do, it will just create a purchase order anyway in the background, but it's sort of retrospectively creating it. We've also can change the status of a purchase order here, open or closed, to reflect that. Now we've just got our supply details here. So I'm just saying this is a Bunnings invoice. I've got my invoice date. I can put in my invoice number, and I can put in my invoice details below here and add line items. So I can add whatever information that's applicable to that invoice. And as I add values here, it'll add into the invoice value there as well. Likewise, I can add an attachment in here, and that attachment, if I've got it set that way, will sync to 0 as well. And with that invoice status, I can mark that as approved. And once that's approved and I click Save Invoice, that will therefore sync to 0. So within this screen here, the other thing you can do is if I go to my open invoices, you could have someone entering invoices that are all not approved and have someone come along and selecting these and changing these statuses and reviewing all these and changing them to approved. And if you look here, if you've got any open PDFs here, you can actually view the attachments there. So if I've got supplier invoices attached, you can go ahead and view them possibly as you're going through and approving them. So that is our new invoices feature. And if you have any questions or need a further hand to go through this, please just let us know. And lastly, just to show you how you can set all this up, if you click on your settings and you go to your company and users, and just so under add new user, but likewise for any existing users you've got, there will be a new option down here for purchasing called invoices. So you'll just need to tick that box there for anyone that you want to give access to the invoicing screen. They just have to have that tick box and just click on the save there. And with that, this concludes this video. And if you have any questions at all, please just let us know. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.